Yeah, it has been a crazy day so far. Randy Grimes is just with us. He's hanging out still. We're now joined by Vance Johnson. Now, Vance, before we go any further, before we do anything else, here, can I sneak in? I'm going to try and sneak in.
Are you on there, brother?
Yeah, I want to.
I'm going to post it, man, so I need to make sure to get my brother Randy Grimes in there.
Oh, okay. All right,
That's
well,
right,
maybe we could. Well, we have friends. We can make some. We don't have to do a selfie. We can do a portrait.
We can do a portrait.
Yeah. You played in 3 Super Bowls for the Broncos.
I did.
So you are unique in this situation that you can tell me exactly what the Broncos are going through right now.
Well, what they're going through is you got some kids out there that are really excited because this is their first time being able to participate in the Super Bowl. And so when I was 22, 23 years old, I mean, I was so excited about it. I remember when I was like 7 years old, and where I wanted to be was in the Super Bowl. And so finally being there, and this was against the Giants in, I believe, 1986, 1987. We're going to stop and take a little pose real quick. I remember being a child and saying, man, this is exactly where I wanted to be. Now, I didn't think that we were going to end up losing the ball game. It was just a blessing just to get there. So the guys who are there for the first time are excited. They just want to be a part of something great. And Randy, I think, talks about it, too, that he's never had a chance to be in the Super Bowl. And so he would go back just so he can be in that moment, just to be there.
I try not to bring that up very much.
I know. I didn't do that to you.
I know. Vance likes to bring me down.
He always beats me up.
Then I got to tell the whole story about how I played for 5 head coaches, 6 different offensive line coaches, all in 10 years. So that was pretty traumatic in itself.
The hard thing for Randy is he wasn't able to be afforded free agency, being one of the best centers in the NFL, but being stuck with the team, being the franchise guy, but never being able to leave and not making the money because they actually had a chance. Well, they only told him how much he could make. $20 million, that was about it.
Yeah, right.
104.5 the team. This is great. We're being taken over by Vance Johnson and Randy Grimes. I would not have it any other way.
Vance, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brady. Take it away.
One of the things that off the field surprised me about you to learn was that you almost made the Olympic team in '84. It's an Olympic year coming up. Man of all trades.
When I was just a kid, man, track and field was my thing. I didn't like football because I didn't want to get hit. It was about running, and it was about jumping. And I think that's what I wanted to do when I grew up. And so I was blessed to go to college and run track and be a part of the Olympic team as an alternate. I got beat at the last jump of the night, actually, and ended up just being an alternate on the team. But it was a lot of fun.
Was that?
In long jump.
Really?
Yeah, in fact,
I didn't know that about you.
My first year in college, I beat Carl Lewis and won the NCAA double championship in long jump.
Carl
Lewis. Now, he scratched out, but I won.
Well,
you won. That's true. 1981. I won long jump.
I did not know that.
26-11 almost. In fact, I was about a foot behind the board, so they said you were well over 28 feet in that jump.
Vance Johnson, Denver Broncos wide receiver, among other teams, but that's the one we're going to focus on today. Beat Carl Lewis there. Can you sing better than him?
I can't. What do you want to hear?
Anything you want.
Don't do it.
Anything you want to hear?
No, go for it.
I tell you what. You know what? You kind of took me off guard, but
you see what I did?
Yeah, you did. I got to find something to sing though.
But I also brought up this. John Elway had 3 favorite receivers.
Amigos, huh?
Yeah, the 3 amigos. So I went and I found the picture of y'all.
Oh my goodness, Mark Jackson, Ricky Nantil. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come out with like a barbecue sauce or a spicy salsa, and we're going to have, how they have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, we're going to have the spicy. That's going to be Vance. We're going to have the mild. That's going to be Ricky. We'll have the medium, which is Mark Jackson. Just coming to a store near you.
So closest to ugly? Is that what you're saying?
You know what? Yeah, he was the ugly. I won't mention any names.
When you look at these two teams, Vance Johnson joins us. Randy Grimes here, 104.5 the team. Whose receiver core? I think I know what you're going to say. Reminds you most of that one you had.
Wow. That's a good question. I think when we look at the Broncos right now, and I know a couple of years ago, especially because they had Welker, you have Demarius, and you got tight ends out there. It just really depends on who's going to show up for this game. Unfortunately, because Manning's been down and out, you never really had a chance to showcase a lot of receivers this year with his injuries and everything. So who's going to show up for the game? It just depends. But I know one thing, the defense will show up.
We've got Josh Norman, an elite defensive back on Carolina's side. You as a wide receiver going against him, how do you beat someone who's that good?
Well, I think what you have to do is just run your routes correct. You got Peyton Manning, which is one of the celebrated all-time great quarterbacks out there, so hopefully he'll be on. He's got fresh legs now, and he's throwing the ball really good. And so running against a really good defensive back, the first thing you do is throw away from him. However, but you test the guy. This is the Super Bowl, man, and the guys play different when it comes to the Super Bowl. It's a different platform, which I'm hoping, with this young kid, Superman Cam Newton out there, he's going to struggle out there, I'm hoping, if we can put some pressure on this guy. But he's a great one.
When you look at this game and Cam Newton, and he loses his number one wide receiver before the season even starts. How impressed how impressed are you in what he's done?
Well, if you look at John Elway and you see how he carried the teams back in the 80s, it didn't matter really what receiver they had out there. Obviously, you had the three amigos, but as long as you had someone that was going to be dependable, you had a quarterback that people believed in, and that's the reason why people got open, and that's the reason why they catch passes. Look at Brady. Brady's making receivers out of nobody. You can
they stick to you.
You can bring somebody out of the stands and throw them out there.
Favre did the same thing.
That's right.
Favre could throw, like I call it a Farvel, that backhand toss, that weird little thing that he could do.
It's called desperation.
Yeah, it's kind of between
Farvel,
Bernie Kosar, kind of between Bernie Kosar and John Elway type of pass.
I don't get to talk to too many wide receivers, so I got to go back on the field for a second.
Here we go.
And the thing I've always wondered, we talked a lot about Josh Norman and Odell Beckham Jr. What's the trash talk like what's it really like out there?
Well, the trash talk when I played, honestly, I was a small guy. I mean, I was only 5'11", 180 pounds at best. And now you got these guys that are 240, 250 pounds playing wide out, 6'4", 6'5". So the trash talking, I would imagine now, is just really putting those guns on each other and trying to rough each other up. But back then, I was kind of nice to the guys. I mean, I'd ask them how, Aunt Betsy's doing. I would ask how Junior's doing in school. And all it took was just one play. For instance, I played against Albert Lewis, one of the best defensive backs in the NFL to play with the KC Chiefs, right? So we're coming down there, and I've been talking really nice stuff to him all day, seeing how Mama's doing and how the kids are doing. and so he was pretty light on me. That last play of the game when John Elway threw it to me in the end zone for the touchdown, I literally was just sweet talking the guy all the way to the back cone. Like, the ball's not coming my way. I've been injured all year long. Man, it's been really nice. Catch, touchdown, Vance Johnson!
So you reverse psychology, though.
Reverse psychology, baby.
Randy, do the centers talk trash to the defensive linemen?
We're too fat and heavy. We're way out of breath. We don't have enough breath to talk trash out there. We take care of business in those first 3 or 4 seconds, and then it's all about resting for the next one.
Shuffle
That's
back to the
what happens
huddle.
when you're 280 plus,
Tell me about it. We're joined by Vance Johnson and Randy Grimes right here on 104.5 The Team. Who's the MVP of the Super Bowl?
The MVP of the Super Bowl. I'll tell you what, well, obviously Cam's going to be the MVP if they win, but I think Peyton Manning, one of the most celebrated quarterbacks of all time, obviously one of the best, if not the best, that played in the regular season, if he can somehow keep them close and win this ball game, he will go away with the victory, with the MVP, and he'll ride off in the sunset, baby. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I think Cam's going to probably be the NFL MVP. I think that'll probably be announced before the game. I don't think there's any question there. As far as the game's concerned, he might get that too. I would be happy to see Peyton get it.
Right.
But I don't know. It's going to be funny who emerges. This is going to be a great game. A lot of great athletes out there.
104.5 The Team. Vance, the wide receiver is usually the loudmouth, the big, flashy guy, the air quote diva of the team. The Carolina Panthers, the big mouth, the showman, is the quarterback. Would that bother you if you had a quarterback who was talking more than you?
John didn't talk a lot of stuff at all, man. He just went out there and really showed off his abilities by playing football. Cam is a different era. It's something that he's doing that I don't think when you saw McMahon do it back in the 80s, it was a big deal. But there's something about Cam doing it. But he's also, and I think you mentioned earlier in one of the other shows, backing it up, Randy, wouldn't you think?
Right. And what's funny is Ron Rivera is such an old school guy, but he puts up with it because he knows that's the personality of course. You don't want to restrain that guy in any way. You want him to be Cam out there on the field, and if that helps him, if that does anything for his psyche while he's playing the game, you just let him play. Let him play. He enjoys the game that much, and that's part of how he enjoys it.
All right, so Randy's told us a lot about what you guys are doing. What's your side of this, Vance? The helping people with addiction, helping people through concussions.
Well, after I've had a chance now to be 29 months sober, I reflect on my life and see how many things have changed. I realize not only did I struggle with addiction, but I had a lot of underlying issues that I also faced, and that's seeing addiction as a child and growing up in and around it. I also take a look at my life and see how when I got old enough, I wasn't mature enough to make the right decisions. Now it's time to, after being a part of this journey and in sobriety, is to start giving back, talking to guys, whether it be professional athletes, young kids, and just mentoring them and letting them know this is how far my life got out of control. And once you've gone up that curb of a social use, you can't go back down. You have two choices. One is death or the other one is recovery. and I'm here to give the message about recovery. And being a born-again Christian, and I have been for a while, but now I really understand my faith. And I hope and pray to be a pastor one day, to lead people in a sober way, to be sober-minded and let them know that you exalt things more than yourself instead of creating a world around yourself and being a god, because eventually it's going to come crashing down. Addiction kills, man, and it crosses all barriers. And I'm just on the front lines now, just letting people know that there is hope and help. Even yourselves here doing this show and people that are out there listening to your show right now, they are suffering with a loved one, a mother, a father, a brother, sister, uncle, cousin, aunt. And I hear Randy talk about this when we talk to different stadiums full of children, and he asked them to raise their hands. I would imagine 60 to 90% of the kids raise their hands and say they are being affected by someone struggling in addiction in their life. And something has to change, and it comes with having a changed mind and realizing you're tired of killing yourself, killing your loved ones.
Wow, you guys, I mean, both great football stories and great stories also on just what you guys are doing and using your platform. And I can already hear the pastor in them. You know what I mean? Like I can't believe they haven't given you the title yet. I think it's just a formality at this point, right?
And Vance has been such an example of what recovery can do. You know, when the guy came in, he really surrendered to this process. And you know, sometimes it takes getting to that, you know, bottom rung in your life before you finally get this thing, that real rock bottom. And, you know, we get the opportunity to help a lot of athletes every year. We work very closely with the Player Care Foundation of the NFL, with the Players Association, and also with an organization called BAT, which is Baseball Assistance Team. So we get to help a lot of former Major League Baseball players get sober, too. So that's what it's all about, and that's what we're here promoting is NFL recovery, is sobriety in the NFL, and that's what we want guys to know, that there's hope.
Vance Johnson, Randy Grimes, thank you so much for all the work you do. Thanks for the time you spent with us here today.
Yeah, brother, reach out to us on Facebook, Vance Johnson, athlete on my Facebook page, Randy Grimes, or you have Athletes in Recovery, right?
And bhpalmbeach.com.